Hi everyone, and welcome to our virtual event today, where we're going to be talking about putting digital transformation into practice. My name is Brendan McErlain, and I'm the VP of Portfolio Product Marketing at Red Hat. But more importantly, I will be your MC and your host today. Now, whether you're tuning in for the first time or a regular visitor to Red Hat events, we are very glad to have you with us here today. And back to our theme, putting digital transformation into practice. Digital transformation is quite an overcrowded space, and the painful reality is that most transformations fail. Now, why is that? I'd like you to consider two research points. Firstly, research shows that 70% of large, complex change programs don't reach their stated goals. Sustaining transformation's impact usually requires a major reset in mindsets and behaviors, and this is something that few leaders know how to achieve. Secondly, research also shows that transformation leaders are open. Now, what do we mean by open? The key traits of open leaders are inclusivity, transparency, adaptability, and collaboration. But how do you enable your teams to become an open organization? Well, to tell us more, it is my pleasure to welcome our two guests for today. First of all, Red Hat CIO Mike Kelly and Omnitracs CTO Kent Norton. Welcome to our event today, both Mike and Kent. So Kent, I'd actually like to start with you today. We know that you're well down the path of transformation, but how are you working to adapt and transform your organization?
Well, we made the very difficult decision to converge 3 platforms that we had acquired through acquisition. Omnitracs is a company in the transportation space, came out of Qualcomm about 6 years ago. And we inherited 3 wonderful platforms that work great. But the reality is that from a cost effectiveness standpoint, from a modern perspective, and also even from some tech debt perspective, all 3 platforms really needed to be converged. They need to be brought together in the new architecture. And so our process was, let's talk about bringing them together in one modern way. And let's do that through a transformation where we change how we work. Let's change our tools. Let's modernize and consolidate and standardize the development processes that we use. And we got to do all that while we run the existing platforms. So we reached out to Red Hat and we said, well, hey, we need some help doing that because we have some wonderful developers, great architects. They understand the existing environments, but don't necessarily understand the best tools and processes that need to be employed in a true cloud native environment. So Red Hat came in as our partner, and we worked together through the innovation labs and had an exciting ideation, and then ultimately the generation of a brand new platform running in the cloud, truly cloud native. So we're well down that path, as you said. It's been a really exciting process, lots of work, but man, is it really yielding value for us as a company right now.
I'm delighted to hear that. That's really exciting. And Mike, what's it been like going on a journey to transform Red Hat?
Well, I'd say it's been quite the adventure. First and foremost, I'd say, our sole purpose as a company is to help customers like Kent achieve their goals, whatever they happen to be, as it relates to modernizing their enterprise IT space. And so we as Red Hat are not immune to that. We have our own challenges within our operation to transform. And sometimes I hear from folks that, oh, you guys are a software company, so everything must be perfect. Well, it's not. And we're constantly, thinking about how we transform ourselves. And one of the things we do try to do is obviously, use our products in a way that helps benefit customers like Kent before they begin to adopt them. So we have a program we call Red Hat on Red Hat, where we attempt to run the relevant parts of our operation on Red Hat products or give feedback to our product teams on how they need to improve. So I think along the lines of what we've had to do, it's been the heavy lift of the technology itself, but also the reskilling of our folks, our associates, making sure that they feel they're part of the solution as well.
Mike, that's really interesting. And I like your choice of word adventure there. It sounds very similar to also what Kent has gone through at Omnitracs. But Mike, how do you enable your teams to actually become an open organization?
Well, for me, I mean, it's all about authenticity and transparency. You know, anybody that says one of these transformations is a simple process has never done one. You know, I think we all have our accumulation of scar tissue that we've picked up over the years and going through these things. It takes true leadership. It takes alignment, and make sure that from an open perspective, I mean, I certainly, I do not have all the answers to what it is that we need to do, but I know that they exist within the team or within the resources we can bring you know, to bear. And so we spend a lot of time just having an honest, open, and authentic dialogue about what it is that we're actually trying to achieve here versus the, you know, big words and things that scare off a lot of people. So that would be the first thing. And I think as far as setting goals, it's great to articulate a large vision, but it's equally, if not more important, to establish good breakpoints and milestones along the way that can really deliver value. You know, we don't want to take 100 years to do this. We also don't want to take one day. So it's finding that balance and just helping co-author that with the team.
Kent, I heard you giggle when I asked Mike that question, so I'm going to ask you the same one. How do you enable your teams to be open when they're working on such projects? Yeah,
well, first of all, the teams want to be open, and as management, it's really up to us to help facilitate and drive that. And I'm totally with Mike. I mean, openness and transparency, just being completely honest. I mean, we started with, guys, we have to change. In order for us to be competitive in the market space, we have to change. It's going to be better for everybody, but we want you to come along. We want you to be a part of the process. And we sat everybody down and we explained to them what we'll call the burning platform. Why do we need to do this? Got them excited about it. And the reality is they want to do this. It's something that once you get the bug to make this type of a change, you feel like you've got the right people, you've got the right tools, you understand your vision, and you know you're going to go there. And everybody knows that we're all supporting this 100%. It's one of these snowballs that once it starts going, you couldn't stop it in many ways. Even though, as I'm with Mike, it's hard. There's a lot of work here, and I'm sure we'll talk about that, but it's incredibly rewarding.
But what I'm hearing from both of you is that it's way more than technology. I'm hearing a lot of people topics in there. So your people really make the difference. Same for you, Mike?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I think oftentimes in these transformations, you get certain pockets of people that get excited about one part of it, but they sometimes don't see the bigger picture of how do we bring everybody along, and how do we do so in a way that keeps the current operation, you know, running as it needs to while we're focused on new things. And I don't like to, I use this term called classes of citizenship, and I do not like to establish that within the team when we embark on these things, because the folks that are running the current operation are just as important as the folks that are focused on building the new one. And I think as a leader, you really have to level that playing field and be very, like I said, authentic and open about that. That's the reality that we're working in here, folks. You know, there's not the haves and the have-nots. Everybody needs to come together. Everybody needs to move forward.
That's fantastic. Kent, do you think the partnership with Red Hat has also had an impact on the internal culture at Omnitracs?
Oh, man. Total impact. I mean, we, like I said, we changed how we work. We changed our development methodology. We completely transformed our tools. I mean, a better question is what didn't change? I mean, this was all planned. We wanted to do it, and it's one of those kinds of things that if you do it properly and you help everybody understand from the beginning, look, we're going to change. We need to change all of these different areas, and we get to change them. Think of it as a get to, not a got to. And then suddenly it becomes something that people get excited about. They want to be a part of it. They want to try to help throw their 2 cents into it. And it's amazing the different ideas that come out through a process like that.
That's great. Now, gentlemen, we're halfway through 2020, and a lot of the plans companies have probably set out to achieve might have shifted now due to many factors. What will be your focus looking forward now to the second half of this year? What's next for you? Mike, do you want to take that question first?
Well, I have to say, I'm thankful that we did what we did leading up to where we are, because we're actually quite well positioned as I look across my peers and what they're faced with. So I'm really proud of the work, the forward vision that we had, and the work we've been able to achieve to frankly, navigate this time in a, as best as you can expect way. For us, I mean, we still have plans. We're still executing those plans. I mean, we're going live with the new HCM system next Monday, and we're ready to go. And there's nothing stopping us from being able to do that. I do think going forward there'll be a refreshed emphasis on the plan and thinking through what to do when things happen. It's easy when times are good to not think about what would happen when times are not so good. And I think that's one of the real pillars of leadership, is to be looking around those corners and thinking about what's coming next, and are we really prepared in a what if scenario. And obviously now we have a great use case we can refer to. So I think that will be the new norm as we start to think ahead, is with this pandemic sort of lingering in our heads. I think it will change the way we operate.
Indeed. And Kent?
Yeah, so we started with an idea and a vision with Red Hat and our teams in the innovation labs, and we ended up about 9 months later with a fully functional, completely built, automated CI/CD pipeline landscape from dev, staging, production, up and running. And that is an amazing feat that was accomplished. And so that's where we are. We actually have our first product up and running. We're selling it in the marketplace. It's being well received. And we are incrementally adding more of our existing environments into that platform right now. So we're looking to get back into the office and to have some face-to-face meetings, get the sticky notes back up on the wall again, and really have some interactions. But we're kind of getting to a point now where we've hit the critical mass with our deployment, and we will continue that process. And really, the other thing to say about transformation is, if you're doing it right, you simplify things too. So one of the things that we're doing is a massive simplification, a lessening of a lot of different technologies and confluencing them down to the right ones that everybody has access to. And so we're going to continue down that path. That's what we're going to keep doing. We keep reducing tech debt from the older systems, migrating it into the new environment, and we've hit this critical mass of excitement. Everybody wants on board, and it's kind of a sign of, okay, we're there now.
But the role that both you and Mike have, simplification must be tough, because I imagine everybody comes to you every day with a new wish list and new things that aren't working, they want to change and stuff. Has it been tough to drive that simplification? Well,
I would say yes, but it's one of those things, part of the vision of getting to a specific location is recognizing you got to be careful with the scope. You got to be careful with what you take on, stay focused on the most important things, have those in mind when you start. And then with the proper design, which we have, it's easy to add new ideas or some feature functions that hadn't previously been thought of. I mean, our architecture is such that it's easy to add additional features and functions on. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, Mike? I would echo that. I mean, I've never been through a transformation, a program, a project where someone doesn't come and say, well, what about me and my corner case, if you will. And I think you have to examine that and say, was that a feature or a bug?
Yeah, right.
Because it could be a bug, and you could reimagine the process. And to me, that's when you're most successful. But you have to be vigilant around scope, as Kent said. I mean, I think to think that you just flip a switch and everything is understandable to everybody right out of the gate is a fool's errand. You really have to give some strong thought to the organizational and process and people change that will ultimately result from any of these initiatives. To me, that's where things it's never about the tech, really. We can make that work. It's about the people in the process, and that's where we see the most, that's where the judgment of the failure or success or a program happens.
Yeah, that's cool. Any other final advice? Think as well, also advice for teams or advice for other leaders, thinking of our guests who are listening in today, maybe in similar positions to yourselves, but what would your final advice be to them?
Hey, so let me just make a point, and that is we're building out a commercial environment for our customers. And so, here I'm the CTO on the call here today, but I have a partner, and he's a chief product officer. And And I got to tell you, balancing those two things, letting the product team focus on the product part, helping the technology team focus on the technology part, helps you answer some of those previous questions. When feature functions are brought, for the most part, I don't have to deal with them, or my team don't. The product people stage them, they get them in the pipeline, they help us manage those things. Planning this thing out, having a vision, getting aligned with your exec team, and then creating this burning platform for change, I got to tell you, it sets the stage. Everybody understands the direction you're heading, and you do hit this critical mass of excitement. And with partnerships like with Red Hat, it actually can make sure you make the right decisions. And my other advice actually is, and I think this might be somewhat unique, and that is the way I chose to work with Red Hat is as a partner. Now certainly we bought services from Red Hat, but we brought them into our project as a partner, and we said, okay, we all want to join this project. We're going to do it together, but the Red Hat team are equal players. They've got architectural skills. They've got design skills. They've got tools. They understand ways of working that we're going to migrate to. They have to be equal players in this process. That actually is a secret sauce of success. I really believe that, because what it did, it took a lot of the pressure off of our team to not to have to feel like they had to figure all that stuff out. And we could rely upon the Red Hat team to help us make some really, really important decisions. They've got this breadth of understanding and knowledge of what's happening in the real world out there. And they were able to bring us tools and processes. We looked at them very quickly and said, these are great. We would have spent months trying to figure those processes out or trying to pick the best tools. Instead, we said, look, guys, this is awesome. We've seen how you guys use these tools. These tools are going to work great for us. And so things that would normally take you 3-6 months to try to go through, solve those problems, we solved them in days. And that's really what you need in a transformation. You have to move fast. You've got to get to deliverables. You've got to get a product out there. And that's really, my advice is, one of the reasons why you use a partner like Red Hat is to help make those things happen. And Red Hat was just a fantastic partner through this process with us. So I kind of just wanted to thank you guys for that, because this is really hard. If you guys haven't ever done a transformation like this, starting from nothing, going to something that really works, it's exciting, it plans out a platform for the future, is incredibly important. And the partnership has been really valuable, and we've gotten a lot for our customers as a result of it also.
Wow, that makes us feel very proud to be Red Hatters, Mike, hearing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we use the same service internally, and it's great to hear. I think what you're talking about is that esprit de corps amongst the team when you do these transformations. I mean, they're hard enough. So if you can build a great team that treats each other as equals and has a common vision, easier said than done.
Yeah.
But extremely effective if it's working well.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. Well, on behalf of Red Hat, I would like to thank you, Mike, our CIO, but in particular you, Kent, for joining us today. You both have really helped us understand that technology alone does not solve digital transformation. And in fact, your people and your processes are every bit, if not more, critical to your success. We hope you've all enjoyed today. It's been our pleasure hosting you, and we look forward to collaborating hopefully again with you sometime in the future. Otherwise, all that remains for me now is to thank you, our guests, for joining, and wish you all the very best and ask you to take care. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Brendan. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.